All right, so it's basically 2 o'clock. It's like a minute till, but I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you again for all of you being here today. My name is Dylan Montedioca. I am the Associate Director of Admissions. I oversee all of our events. So that includes all of our virtual events now, since that's how we're hosting all of our events. This session is also being recorded, so we can send it out to anyone that is not able to attend, or if you missed something, we will send it out to you later on as well. So I have the distinct pleasure in welcoming all of our panelists as well as the Dean of the School of Nursing. This is our first ever Tanner Health System School of Nursing webinar. So bear with us as we are, learning the kinks of how to host virtual sessions. So thank you again for being here. And it's again a pleasure to welcome Dean Jenny, and she will go ahead and be talking to you all about the School of Nursing. So again, any questions that you may have, feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Ask away, ask any of our panelists, and we're here to assist you. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. Everyone, hang on just a minute. I'm going to pull up my slides with any luck at all. Let's try that again. Well, I do not know why it's showing this one, Dylan.
That's okay.
Hang on 1 minute. Let's try this again.
No worries.
Okay, is this the correct slide?
Yep, and then just click from beginning, and then it should work to the left. Perfect.
Sorry about that, everyone. And nurses are very proficient technology-wise in some areas. However, Zoom is something a little new to us, so please forgive me. We kind of started on a slow start. But let me re-emphasize the welcome that Dylan gave to all of you for joining our first ever School of Nursing, Tanner Health System School of Nursing at the University of West Georgia preview event. I'm going to take just a few minutes to tell you all the awesome things about the School of Nursing, but first let me congratulate you, for your interest in nursing. Certainly now more than ever, nursing is a wonderful field with so much opportunity. You always have so many options with the Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and I know over the last several months, we've all heard stories of nurses that are truly heroes and the many, many ways that nursing has made a difference in this pandemic and in this unusual situation that we're all dealing with. So as I said, congratulations on your interest in the profession of nursing. Just a word, should there be any parents joining, congratulations to you on your students' interest in nursing. In nursing, our adult children can have what we want all of our children to have, an opportunity to make a difference and a way to make a good living. And I certainly think that's what a college education is all about. And then B, let me congratulate you on your interest in the University of West Georgia. I am starting my 6th year as Dean of the School of Nursing at the University of West Georgia. I came here to take this position, and I can truly say that I have never enjoyed a role more or thought more of a university, or it's just a great place to be. There's nothing like my faculty and staff, my colleagues in the School of Nursing at the University of West Georgia. So having said all of that, let's talk a little bit about what we're all about in the School of Nursing at UWG. So it may seem kind of boring or dry to start off with what our mission is, but it really is what we're all about: academic excellence and a caring environment. So that's really what we're about: excellence in education, commitment to caring. As you can imagine, a profession like nursing is not going to be light and breezy much of the time. It's serious business. But we have faculty and staff who do whatever it takes to help students meet the high demands of the nursing profession and the high expectations of a rigorous curriculum like a professional nursing curriculum. In fact, we were awarded just this year the Center of Excellence in Nursing Education Award. So we were one of only 10 schools or colleges of nursing across the whole country to be designated as a Center of Excellence. And it was all about our excellence in terms of the scholarship of teaching and learning, that is, helping nursing students learn how to become nurses. So I'm very proud of that. And NLN Center of Excellence is really quite an accomplishment. I want to share some things about our program, and I know that those of you attending today are likely interested in our pre-licensure BSN program. Of course, while I have you as a captive audience, in a few minutes, I'll share a little bit about our graduate programs as well, because we certainly love to have our alumni, that is our BSN graduates, come back to us for their graduate degree. But let's talk about the BSN program, or our pre-licensure BSN, or probably what you think of as nursing school. And so this is nursing school. So the first step in becoming a UWG nursing student is to be admitted to the University of West Georgia and have an undeclared health nursing interest as your major. Now, I may not be saying this quite right, the undeclared health nursing interest. It may have changed a little bit, but our academic advisors who will be with us in a few minutes will certainly make and clear that up if I've got it wrong. So come to the University of West Georgia and declare undeclared health nursing interest as your major. So the second step is an application to the professional program. So what this means is once you take a certain amount of pre-nursing core, so the core courses, so this generally happens in the spring semester of your second year, of your sophomore year, you'll make official application to the professional program. Now, let me go on and say this, it is a competitive process. And its admission is based on objective criteria. We have a formula with different factors in it, and we literally just enter our candidates or applicants into the spreadsheet, and it is very competitive. So GPA is a big part of that. So from your first day here at the University of West Georgia, from that first class that you take, you need to be a serious student and strive for every good grade that you can make, because as I said, it is a very competitive process. We routinely have more applicants, more qualified applicants than we could admit. So I know as you talk about the advisors whom you'll soon get to know well, if you come to the University of West Georgia, they'll talk to you more about that, but it is competitive. You need to be a serious student from the very beginning. So that's the second step. So first apply to the University of West Georgia and be admitted as an undeclared health nursing interest. And then generally in your second year, application to the professional program. Something we want to make sure that everyone understands, and you'll hear this at several points along the way, is we have cohorts. So we have nursing classes that are on the Carrollton and the Newnan campus. So it's the same faculty, it's essentially the same curriculum. You know, we don't consider ourselves Newnan faculty or Carrollton faculty. We are one. Those at the Newnan campus are at the University of West Georgia. Those at the Carrollton campus are the University of West Georgia. We have really beautiful state-of-the-art and science facilities. We'll talk more about our lab facilities as we go along, but we have beautiful facilities in both campuses, both at Carrollton and Newnan. And, you know, some of the virtual tours may focus on the Carrollton campus, but our Newnan campus is every bit as lovely in terms of our beautiful nursing suite there with our lab and simulation suite. So just to keep that in mind, Carrollton and Newnan campuses. Generally speaking, the Carrollton campus is a 6-semester curriculum, and the Newnan campus is an 8-semester curriculum. So it's the exact same curriculum. The Newnan campus is just spread out a little bit more over 2 more semesters. So it's certainly not what I would call part-time. In fact, I think we're trying to get that language completely off the website and out of our use because of the clinical component. You know, we don't want to have anyone to have the impression that it's like a part-time night school or anything like that. It really is a full-time effort in many ways. But it's a little bit less intense because it's spread out over 8 semesters. So we have students who choose that route for lots of reasons. Maybe they live in the Coweta area, or it may be that they have quite a few out of school responsibilities, family, full-time jobs, and that sort of thing. So Carrollton and Newnan campuses, we have student cohorts admitted to both groups. We are really known for our excellence in teaching, and part of that is our concept-based curriculum. So to put that kind of simply, that means we start from day one working with our students, teaching them how to think like a nurse. Nursing is so broad and complex. It's not like it's just a matter of 1 million facts. If that were the case, we would start with fact number one on day number one and finish with fact number a million on the last day. But it's really how to put those facts together and how to think. And that's what a concept-based curriculum does. So we start with that approach to education from the very beginning. We truly have superb lab facilities and a superb simulation experience. Our simulation suites are really mock hospitals. If you walk into our simulation suites on either campus, they look exactly like a hospital. I mean, you would think that if for some reason one of the hospitals were to shut down, we could just move them right into our simulation suites. They look exactly like a hospital. And we have mannequins, human patient simulators is the right word for those mannequins, that can breathe and sweat and cry, and their blood pressure changes and their pulse changes, and they can do basically everything a human does. So a simulation experience, a simulation hospital experience, is particularly useful in nursing because it helps students all get a similar experience. For example, when we go to clinical, where we go to live patient clinical facilities, we can't assure that you would have certain experiences. And two of the biggest examples we normally get, but there really are others, are things like we can't assure for sure that you would see a baby being born, or we can't assure that you would see a code, that is, someone die and us have to go through the process of attempting to resuscitate that patient. So in the simulation suites, we can do that. We can make sure everyone assists with the birth of a baby and everyone's involved in a code experience. And so that's the beauty of simulation, is you can practice over and over again. It's a terrific place to learn how to make mistakes. It's also a great place to learn the fundamental skills, just those simple things like putting in IVs, putting down nasogastric tubes, putting in Foley catheters. We have mannequins that help us with that. And so our lab and simulation suites are superb. You won't find them better anyplace else. And we have the faculty and staff that know what to do with those human patient simulators. I mean, you know, what good is a $90,000 mannequin if you don't know how to use it to help a nursing student learn to think like a nurse? Having said all of that, I wouldn't want anyone to walk away with the impression that we don't also provide excellent clinical experiences. So students are able to go, certainly Tanner Health System, which is a full service regional referral center. So we have a lot of wonderful experiences in the Tanner system. But basically think of any of the facilities in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. We have a lot of experiences with Piedmont and the WellStar system, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. And then we work with all sorts of clinical facilities, maybe places that you don't think about. In other words, they're not hospitals. But remember, nursing happens everywhere. So you may be in school health, occupational health, hospice, mental health, just all sorts of places. So we have terrific clinical experiences. Let's go back and talk a little bit more about simulation. I know some of you have heard about all of the university systems of Georgia's experiences going 100% online about halfway through spring semester to finish up the spring semester. And it was really through our faculty's expertise in simulation, literally virtual simulation. I mean, students weren't even brought to the lab, but they were able to use all sorts of tools and techniques for students to get the concepts and experiences they needed to finish out that semester. So it's really been an exciting time, and in a time where we've had to be innovative, but we've gotten the job done. And your clinical experiences will be complete at the end of the curriculum. We are assigned to a registered nurse one-on-one for preceptorship. So about 160 hours you'll work with this registered nurse. And that's where our students really start feeling that they are really, really ready to be a nurse. So they work in their preceptorship experiences the last semester of the program. Many times this is where they end up finding a job, end up where they going for their first employment experience. So our preceptorship is another live clinical experience. I think we all know about the great employment opportunities for nursing. Remember that for many years, nursing is voted the most trusted profession. It is above all the other healthcare professions. I mean, nursing has a great reputation as being all about caring and being advocates for patients. And also, a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing opens so many doors, perhaps in a way that bachelor's degrees in many other fields don't at this particular point in time. But a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing has been associated with all sorts of improved outcomes in the facilities and hospital settings, improved mortality rates and morbidity rates, improved length of stays. In other words, we get them out quicker. So a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing is a very valuable degree. So again, congratulations on your interest in nursing. We do have a mission-focused study abroad where faculty and a group of students go abroad to take care of a really vulnerable population. Year before last, we went to Costa Rica, and they worked in a clinic setting and home health settings, providing care to people who really needed it. We weren't able to run that this year. But those of you who are going to be here with us in a few years, kind of keep that in the back of your mind. We'd love to see that grow, and it's a great experience for every student that gets to go. I always want to make sure that you hear early and often that once you're admitted to a professional nursing program, so once you're admitted to nursing school, your student experience becomes very different. So this video, which you can also find on our website, was put together by senior nursing students. So this is not a group of actors. These are actual students in their own words wanting you to know the 5 things you need to know to be a nursing student. So here they are kind of outlined, but I think you'll enjoy this video and they'll kind of just summarize what each of these mean.
Knew I wanted to work with children in some way, whether delivering babies or taking care of children with cancer. Honestly, I can't remember a time when I ever wanted to do anything else. Children are my passion, and being a nurse gives me the opportunity to pursue that passion.
I put a lot of effort into my classes because I know one day what I learned could save someone's life. When I was younger, I remember feeling completely helpless when 2 people very close to me faced serious illnesses. I wanted to be their superhero. But as I grew older, I decided to take a more realistic approach and become a nurse. I apply myself to my studies so that I can be prepared to help someone in need.
The confidence I gained in myself and my abilities has exceeded my expectations. And now, I know I can do anything I set my mind to.
My friends are going to the lake this weekend, but I've got something more important on my agenda: achieving my goals. I know that every hour spent on my coursework gets me that much closer to my dream of becoming an OR nurse.
It may be very hard work, but I know that on graduation day, I'll be able to hold my head high, knowing that my family is proud of me. With my degree, I know I'll have a rewarding career because I'll be providing an important service to my community.
So as I said, those were real live nursing students saying in their own words what it takes to be a nursing student. I think my 2 favorite ones are know that your social life will change, and the second being know that it'll be worth it, because it definitely is a lot of hard work, but it's definitely worth it. One of our courses is called Clinical Specialty Practice, and in that, many students select a pediatric rotation. So for this particular course, you select 2 specialties. So generally speaking, maternal infant. So if you're interested in labor, delivery, and helping babies be born, pediatrics, mental health. Those are the big three that everyone tries to get a rotation in. And then also some other experiences such as hospice, occupational health, school health, and that kind of thing. But this is a classic picture of our actual nursing students taking care of a pediatric patient. I've mentioned our simulation lab. So here's a picture of our nursing students caring for a patient while a faculty member looks on from the control room. So the faculty members here, and see how the students are gathered around the simulated patient, taking care of the patient. We have several rooms like this. So this is just one, several rooms both in Newnan and Carrollton. And this is a picture of our students caring for clients in Costa Rica. Really a good time was had by all. Everyone learned, but they also had some fun. One of the students that went, they all went on a zip line, but one of them, and she has a picture, I didn't put it in this slideshow, but she's on the zip line, hanging upside down. I thought, my goodness, did your mother see that? I bet that scared her half to death. But a lot of fun is had, but we really learn a lot and provide some services really needed in our study abroad. As I said, I feel compelled to say just a word or two about our other programs. We have another route to the BSN. So this is for people who are already registered nurses that have an associate's degree and want to come back and complete their BSN. So we have that program. We have 3 tracks in our master's program. So our Master's of Science in Nursing, the Clinical Nurse Leader, the Nurse Educator, and the Health Systems Leadership tracks. And then we have a Doctorate of Nursing Education. So as I said, we'd love to have our alumni come back to us and become our graduate students. So do keep that in mind as you finish nursing school. Here's a picture of our ED graduates, our doctoral graduates, our EDD students graduating. One of them getting their hood. And then finally, we'll wrap up with what we call the graduation video. So this just is a nice video showing a nursing student's journey. So that is it for me, my presentation. Go West, go Wolves, go Nursing is kind of how we like to finish it. So at this point, I want to introduce Lauren Allen and Julie Larson. They are awesome School of Nursing academic advisors. So if you have some questions for them, I think you're supposed to use the Q&A. So you kind of scroll down to the bottom and click on Q&A. And they are for me. Just any questions at all, I'll also be here to respond to any questions. So we're opening that up for questions now. Lauren and Julie, y'all why don't you introduce yourselves right quickly and tell a little bit about what you do.
Well, hey, everybody, I'm Julie Larson. I'm an academic advisor in the School of Nursing, and I work with those of you like you are right now trying to get into nursing school, and your major will be called Focus Area Health Professions until you are admitted to nursing school. And then once you're admitted to nursing school, you fully change over to a nursing major. So we will work with you through nursing school as well and be your advisors in that too. So there are other advisors besides Lauren and I for the Focus Area Health Professions. We have a GA in our office that will could possibly be your advisor, as well as 2 advisors in the advising center. But you'll be assigned to someone, and that person will reach out to you and schedule appointments. And if I can say one thing, the most important thing to stay on track for admissions to nursing school, it is to meet with your advisor every semester. If you do that, they will remind you of the important dates and things coming up that need to be done. Like we've had a couple of questions already about CNA and such as that. So I guess that's my 2 cents worth. I'll turn it over to Lauren.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Allen. So a little bit off of what Julie said, we are here to support you on your journey to becoming a nurse. But not only do we support you academically, we also support you personally. So if you are struggling in classes or real life is happening while you're in school, we're also here to provide resources for you and to connect you to those resources on campus in order for you to be successful inside and outside the classroom. So at any point you can leave us a chat or ask us a question, and we're happy to help and answer your questions.
Julie, do you see that question?
I do. I was just
Okay.
unmuting.
Okay.
That's a really good question. The question is, what if I am not admitted into nursing? And so that does happen, obviously. Some students, if we could take all the students we wanted to, it would be wonderful. But we are limited on resources and faculty, and so there are a certain number of seats that we can admit students into nursing school each year. So each year there are people who do not get in. Again, working with your advisor, that advisor will work with you all the way through the next 2 years in prepping you, and they will be able to tell you, you are highly competitive, you're marginally competitive, and they will work with you if you're kind of in that marginal line of you might get in, you might not. We'll start talking about a plan B, or what we really like to call a parallel plan that you are working on as you are working on completing core. So it might be starting a minor. And so that minor then flips into a major, and you get a bachelor's degree in that. It might be researching other nursing schools. There's a lot of different options, but we work you through that. We will discuss other majors with you. We really do our best to help you to be successful wherever that success lies. Okay, we've got another question. It says, can you apply multiple times, or can you apply only once? So most students will, well, not most, a lot of students, I will say, will reapply if they aren't admitted the first year. They work that next year in between applications on improving their testing score or improving grades, or they may possibly even go ahead and finish a bachelor's degree in another area and then reapply. So we don't have a limit on how many times you can apply, but that's, I guess that's the answer to that.
In regard to these questions or this kind of line of questioning, I do want to point out that we're admitting more students. So that's one thing we're trying to do is increase our admissions so that we have fewer qualified but denied. As a matter of fact, we've just admitted by far our biggest class. I think we're at 105, give or take.
185 altogether.
185. Yes, 185 altogether. 105 in Carrollton. So maybe by the time you're applying, we may be admitting even more.
Okay, we have another question. Do you have any favorite stories from previous students? And I have a lot of favorite stories from students. I've been working at the School of Nursing for a little over 6 years now. And not all those stories involve students who made it into nursing schools. So there are students that plowed their path in a rough, rocky just field. They just really, really struggled a lot, and they overcame a lot, and they made it in. And then I have some too that are plowed that same field and maybe didn't make it in, but they didn't give up. I have several students that went to an associate degree program at several of the technical schools, and then they have returned back for our NWS and Bridge program. So it's really interesting and fun to see the different ways my students just express their fortitude in how badly they want to become a nurse. And so there's a lot of different pathways. And again, some have chosen different majors. And once they got into their new major, they found like, oh my goodness, I love this field. This is really more what I wanted to do than actual hands-on palliative care, especially referring to like the health and community wellness degree we have here at West Georgia. Many of them get into that and they realize they really like the education side of health. And so they like educating other people on how to stay well. So I just love to see my students succeed. And I think that to me are the best stories I have from all, 6 years here plus a bunch of years other places being an academic advisors.
One of my favorite stories is really not long after I came and took the position here as the dean. One of the students, I don't know how, I just happened to run across her in the hallway one day, but she was telling me about an experience she had had in clinical just that week. And she said that last week she had been in the simulation lab where they had done a simulated clinical experience of a patient who was having a postpartum hemorrhage. So in other words, after the patient had delivered the baby, they were simulating a hemorrhage experience where the mother was losing too much blood. And so she went through that simulation, learned a lot. She said she made a few mistakes, didn't do as well as she'd like. But that week in clinical, that day, it was still fresh on her mind. I just ran into her late one afternoon. She was in an OB clinical, so helping deliver a baby. And postpartum, so after the baby was delivered, they'd moved the mother to the room. The same exact scenario started happening, the same signs and symptoms. And so the student was able to pick up on it quick, get help in there, and probably it really kept the mother out of trouble. So she got her out of trouble before she even knew she was in it.
Okay, we have two questions. The first one is, do you think it would be wise to minor in psychology if you had an interest in both nursing and psychology? And what does a minor actually do for you? So a minor does make you a more well-rounded candidate. Minors can be anywhere from 5 to 6 classes, and you have the opportunity to specialize in a specific area. So if you want to work more with children, you would take classes that are more on human and child development, personality theory. So they do make you more well-rounded. Julie, do you have anything? You want to play off of the minors?
I just like them as a great parallel plan, especially
Yes.
if you have an interest too in like mental health nursing. Psychology is an excellent minor to pick up. It just really will give you a strong background in the information that you're going to need going into a mental health nursing field. So I think that's what I would like to say. Jenny?
If I could tag on to what both of you just said, not long ago, I had a student contact me who had a minor in psychology. And in some ways that minor wasn't by design. She was, as Julie described just now, she didn't get in the first time, needed to fill out her schedule and that kind of thing, and ended up with a minor in psychology. And so what happened is she told me that she finished nursing school, did eventually graduate, but told me that it didn't really have that big of an impact on her getting her first job. But a couple years down the road, she was applying for a director position in a mental health facility, one that she really wanted to work at, a pediatric mental health facility. And that minor in psychology really gave her an advantage. So I just couldn't help but weigh in on that.
Mm.
We haven't.
Okay, I was going to say, Lauren, do you want to take this other question?
Yes, that's fine. Next question, will AP and dual enrollment credit count? Yes, it will count in the program. It would determine once everything is evaluated which credit actually will count within our program. So your advisor will work with you once your transcripts are evaluated to show you your progression to graduation plan, where those classes fit in your core. How that works as a nursing student, we require that students must complete all of their core classes prior to nursing school admission. So we will still work with you to map out what classes you have left after your dual enrollment or AP credit is evaluated at UWG, to map out when you need to take those each semester to stay on track.
And if it does leave you short credits for being a full-time student and you really need to be a full-time student until nursing school starts, again, that's a great place to add in a minor and supplement your nursing education.
Any other questions?
It looks like that might be it. But I want to thank you all again so much for doing this. For the students that are in attendance, thank you for being here and being with us. Again, this session was recorded and still being recorded. So if you have any follow-up questions, you could always look back at this webinar. Do you all have a general email address, if anything, if they need to contact you with any of these questions as well?
Yes, it's nurse, but it's NURS without the E, NURS at westga.edu. If you want to put that in the chat or something.
Perfect. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Lauren. So the email address is there. So feel free to email any of your questions as well. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. And again, stay safe in this environment. I know it's kind of hard to stay at home, but we're doing this for the greater good, which is good. But as always, go West, go Wolves, and thank you for being here again. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.